This is my pay-per-view review of Ring of Honor New Horizons, their newest pay-per-view outing. If you missed the first airing of the pay-per-view, they're going to be replaying it this Sunday on pay-per-view, plus all throughout the month of October. The pay-per-view started off with Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black in the ring, cutting a promo saying, since we're the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, we got control to do whatever we want, to start the show, to decide that we can defend the ROH tag titles if we want to or not. Basically, pissing off the fans, saying that there'll be no tag team title defense later on in the evening. This brings out the Briscoes to come out there, see them brawl for a little bit. Then you see Austin Aries come out there, attack Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black. You see them fight to the back. Then the Briscoes are in the ring with Dave Prazak, and they won a match. So the opening match of the pay-per-view was the Briscoe brothers versus Silas Young and Mitch Franklin, which was a complete squash match, but it was at least a good squash match where it showcased the Briscoe brothers good, and this was the Briscoes' return due to after Mark's injury that he suffered in April. So this is the first time in a few months they've teamed up, so definitely good way to start the pay-per-view off, put over the Briscoes, and it was at least an enjoyable squash to watch. I would say 2 stars, even if it was a squash match. Then the next matchup was Four Corner Survival with Delirious versus Erick Stevens versus Ruckus versus Shane Hagadorn. And this was just like your typical Four Corner Survival match. I thought it could have maybe been better. They should have probably replaced Shane Hagadorn's position with either Brent Albright or Adam Pearce, but later on in the evening you see Adam Pearce cut a promo saying he's not going to be wrestling tonight, and Albright at the same time was playing off an injury, the injured injury or the eye injury to him that Albright threw the fireball in his face, so they played off that that's why he is not in here. So I guess you put Shane Hagadorn in here, but I thought they probably maybe should have put someone in here because someone else other than him to maybe make this out to be at least good, because before you watch the match, you obviously know that he's going to be in here to take the job, which he did. Erick Stevens hits the Dr. Bomb onto Shane Hagadorn in a 2 1/4 star match. Could have been a whole lot better, I thought. It was way too short, I thought. Then the next thing was Austin Aries comes to the ring, cuts a promo calling out Jimmy Jacobs. Then after this, Kevin Steen is out here. Then Kevin Steen's out there with Age of the Fall in the ring, and he basically says, okay, me and El Generico deserve an ROH Tag Team title shot. This leads to Jimmy Jacobs and Tyler Black basically saying, okay, first you basically have to prove yourself or, throw another match at them. You see Kevin Steen versus the Necro Butcher in a no disqualification match, which you thought this was going to be a good match. Now, pretty much the only thing this match delivered was the one incredible spot, the very death-defying spot that Necro Butcher did, which wasn't even the finish of the match, which was Kevin Steen hit a Michinoku driver to Necro Butcher through a steel chair that looked very stiff. He wins with a package pile driver. Thought it was going to be a whole lot better, no disqualification match than this, because their match back at the Bedlam and Beantown event, where I think it was Street Fight or something on the lines of no DQ. That was actually, a good example of them two having a good, no DQ match together. This one was very, very disappointing, 2 stars at best. Then after this, let me see. Then after this, Adam Pearce cuts his promo. Very, very good, excellent promo from Adam Pearce. Then the next matchup is one of the first good matches of this pay-per-view, which I gotta say, the first hour of this pay-per-view, or at least the first 45 minutes, felt like, it's just a lot of stuff thrown together. It didn't seem like it was pay-per-view worthy. Now, this match was good, but it wasn't a great match. It was Go Shiozaki and Chris Hero versus Roderick Strong and Marufuji. Just like you would expect, you saw some great stuff between Go Shiozaki and Strong. Good stuff with Marufuji and Go Shiozaki. Chris Hero got in his stuff. So a good tag match, but not a great tag match. Let me see, just check one thing. Strong picks up the victory after a backbreaker to Chris Hero in a 3-star match. Just like I said, good match, not a great match. Felt, a match that was pretty much thrown together in the first place. Then after this, you see here Brent Albright's promo. And this is just his promo selling his eye injury. He had a patch over his face, over his eye, selling the fireball that Adam Pearce threw at him. So good promo, but could have, this first hour of this pay-per-view was, not hard to watch, but could have been a whole lot better, I thought. But then you got the final two matches, which were excellent, excellent matches, which was first the ROH World Title with Nigel McGuinness versus Claudio Castagnoli. Great match, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good back and forth action. The one problem I had with this is nothing due to the match. It's due to the placement of this. I thought it would have been a whole lot better if this would have been the main event, an ROH World Title. I mean, the last pay-per-view, the ROH title wasn't in the main event when he took on Shiozaki. Then coming up their next pay-per-view outing, the tag team titles are going to be in the main event when Kevin Steen and El Generico finally capture them, which, something that I think a lot of ROH fans have been waiting for, but I would much rather see the ROH World Title in the main event. I mean, it's pretty much, one of the most prestigious titles, but the way they're showcasing it on pay-per-view is not showcasing it as, a pretty much prestigious title, whereas, 3 pay-per-views in a row, you're not going to have it in the main event, which I really have a huge gripe with. But, nonetheless, this was a great match between these two 4 stars. Nigel McGuinness picks up the victory after a jawbreaker lariat. But another reason why this might have not been a main event is due to a spot that happened in the Tyler Black versus Bryan Danielson match, which was the next match, which was also an incredible match. A lot of good back and forth action, a lot of good mat wrestling between these two. If you enjoy, a technical-based match, a lot of good mat wrestling and stuff like that, you will enjoy this Bryan Danielson versus Tyler Black match. Now, the spot that might have made this the main event over Nigel and Claudio, they did a spot where Tyler Black powerbombed Bryan Danielson into one of the corner turnbuckles, and the turnbuckle broke, and, played it off as all the ropes broke and the ring broke. So, obviously, that was pretty much planned. So, that might be the reason why that got the main event. Even though it was the better of the 2 matches, like I said, I wish the ROH title was in the main event. But, excellent match with Bryan Danielson versus Tyler Black. Then, after the match, Bryan Danielson, he picks up the victory after repeated elbows in a 4 and 4.5 star match. Then, after the match, you see a brawl between Austin Aries versus Jimmy Jacobs to end the pay-per-view. And this is where I have a problem with this pay-per-view. It's not a problem that they had a brawl and then ended the pay-per-view, but this really, showcased the flaw in ROH Productions on this pay-per-view, especially the way it ended with, the terrible lighting that they have, whenever a brawl is done through the crowd, which sometimes it's not that bad. Sometimes it's passable, it's watchable, it doesn't look that bad, but if this was, a first-time ROH viewer, someone that's a very casual fan, they would probably shit on the quality of this brawl, because during a lot of this brawl, you missed a lot of stuff due to the lighting, and, it was a good way to end the pay-per-view, good way to put over their feud, but the lighting really killed it, in my opinion. Like, sometimes I don't have a problem with production value in Ring of Honor at all, but this was one time where, they showcased how bad it was, and, showed how much of a flaw it is at times, and, the way the pay-per-view ends, you see both Jimmy Jacobs and Austin Aries on a ladder, both climbing up the ladder, and then you see Necro Butcher come out there saying, okay, what side am I going to pick? Looks like he's about to hit Austin Aries with a chair. He drops the chair, and then he just pushes over the ladder, and both of them fall to the floor, so it plays off, Necro Butcher's not sure what side he's on. Obviously, later on, revealing that he gets out of the Age of the Fall, and pretty much now, I guess he's pretty much a face, even though I would still call him a tweener a little bit, but yeah, he is pretty much over, and, a lot of Ring of Honor's big territories, like Philadelphia and New York, he's highly over up there, so it makes sense, at some point, turning him heel, due to, some of the undercard of this pay-per-view, and, the terrible lighting with the Jacobs and Aries brawl to end the pay-per-view, and some of the stuff in the first hour was, passable, I would say. At first, even though the 2 main events are great, I was about to give this pay-per-view an 8, but I don't think it really deserves that, so I'll end up giving it about a 7.75. It's not a pay-per-view I would say rush out your way to see, but if you're a huge fan of Bryan Danielson, Tyler Black, I would recommend it for you. or you're a huge Nigel or Claudio fan, then I might recommend it to you. But this is one of those Ring of Honor pay-per-views that I would say, even though the Ring of Honor pay-per-view is only $10 to $15, so it's pretty much guaranteed that I probably would recommend it due to just the value of the pay-per-view. Now, if this was $20 or $30, then I would say don't waste your money on it. But if you got $10 to $15 to spare, it's definitely worth it for the last two matches. But like I said, when you watch it, the first hour of the pay-per-view, or at least the first 45 to 50 minutes of the pay-per-view, is kind of passable. You have two great co-main events with the ROH World Title and Tyler Black versus Bryan Danielson, and a pretty good tag match with Go Shiozaki and Chris Hero versus Marufuji and Roderick. But other than that, a lot of this stuff was passable. Other than them, and the tag match wasn't even great. It was just good. Like I said, I give the pay-per-view 7.5. Wouldn't highly recommend it unless you're a diehard Ring of Honor fan. You